church has been very, very good at teaching all of us that that's how God is. I think the church has spent quite a bit of time teaching all of us that there are things we must do for God before God will grant us what we want or need. When I was growing up, all my Catholic friends, all the kids who were doing their catechism, were coming up to me saying, if you do this, you're going to go to hell. And they had a whole list of stuff. If you do this, you're going to go to hell. If you don't do this, you're going to go to hell. You'll never get to heaven if you don't do this. The church has been very, very good about telling us all of the things we cannot do and all of the things we must do in order to get love from God, in order to receive what we require or need or ask from God. Believe, get baptized, say the affirmation of faith, pledge allegiance to the flag of God. You've got to do that or you will not receive grace. Well, Paul has written something here that says, no, you don't have to do that. That's not how God is. God is one who loved you long before you ever had a notion of who you were. God loved you. God wanted to be in relationship with you so much. God wanted to love you so much that God created you. God wanted to be in relationship with humankind. So when Paul writes this letter to the people at the Church of Rome, he writes this whole list of things. He says, there is nothing in this world that can separate you from the love of God in Jesus Christ. Nothing. Nothing that you do, nothing about this world that can separate you from God. Nothing, absolutely nothing will make God stop loving you. Not famine, not homelessness, not trouble in your life, not losing your job, not being able to keep money in the bank, not distress, not anxiety, not fear. That will not separate you from God. Not persecution. If you are ostracized from your community, if you are reviled, if people can't stand you, that doesn't do anything to your relationship with God. God keeps on loving you. Not your ability or your disability, not how you look, not whether you're pretty, not if you're ugly, not your sexuality. None of that can separate you from the love of God. Not if you commit a crime. Not if you fight in wars. Not if you kill someone. Not if you rob from someone. Not if you hurt another human being. It will not separate you from the love of God. We don't understand how incredible that love is. We don't begin to have a clue. Nothing that you or I do in this life will separate us from the love of God. No action that we take, nothing that we think, even if we turned our back and walked away from God and said, I don't believe in you, we would not be separated from imagine how that erases any notions of shame in this life. How many of us in this life have been brought up on shame? How many of us have felt shame in our life that says, well, if you change your behavior, you will have this love. If we're not ashamed of you, if you behave differently, if you look differently, if you act differently, you will have our love. Everything conditional. How many of you have been in one of those lousy relationships where you just can't get it right? You keep doing things to try to improve the relationship. You buy more gifts, or you behave differently, or you turn somersaults, you turn yourself inside out and upside down, and you're always trying to make the other person happy with you. You keep investing time and energy to try to get this person to like you or to love you. Been there? Have you been there? Investing. I'll get a facelift. I'll get a tummy tuck. I'll fix my body. I'll change my body. I'll change my hair. I'll dress differently. I'll move to a different address. I'll get a different house. I'll buy a different car. I'll get more money in the bank. I'll change my job. I will do all of these things to change myself so you will love me. We've all had relationships like that were no-win relationships, because nothing you did was ever going to get that person to approve of you. I hope you know what I'm talking about. I hope you know that feeling. Because it ain't that way with God. There is never going to be a day when God does not approve of you. There is never going to be a day when God is not pouring out incredible efforts to love you and to have you love God. Perhaps we need to look at God as the one who's been doing the somersaults and the one who's been doing the tummy tucks and investing all of this time and energy to try to get us to love God. Nothing you do or say or think in this life will separate you from God's love for you. In this moment of your life, let yourself take a deep breath and know how much you are loved, and maybe in that moment you can say, I think I'm going to try to give a little bit of that back.